Okay, I have 7 o'clock, so I'm just going to note that this is the Inland Wetlands, Watercourses, and Conservation Commission meeting for the City of Norwich for Thursday, August 5th, 2021 at 7 p.m. The meeting is a virtual/hybrid meeting. It's being audio and video recorded. And with that, I will turn it over to you to start, Rich.
Call this meeting to order. It's a roll call. I see that Peter Chalecki and Doug Lee are present, and Richard Morrell also. That is a quorum. We will all be voting. Absent is Robert McCoy, Michael Lehan, Sinj Bhatia, and Brandon Hyde. Also present will be Dan Daniska, Assistant City Planner, and Catherine Rose, the Recording Secretary. If anyone wish to speak about or approve the meeting minutes of 7/1?
This is Doug, so moved.
Second, Pete.
There's a motion on the table to approve the meeting minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Doug, aye.
Pete, aye.
So moved. Dan, any communication?
I just have one. It's a notification to treat the pond at 289 New London Turnpike on around today, actually. That's it.
There are no public hearings, which brings us to old business, IWWCC number 21-06, 267 Salem Turnpike.
Yep, this you received last month. It's the construction of a new single-family home, approximately 9,500 square feet of disturbance within the 100-foot upland review area. It's property and application of Tony Liang /TTL Realty LLC, Assessors Map 121, Block 2, Lot 12, in the R20 zone. I have the application and the site plan. I just note that we've had a little bit of back and forth. I have updated site plans for today that address any concerns that we had from the city engineer or zoning or MPU. And I will bring up my memo for you. I'll just remind you that we don't have anyone online to present, so I try to answer any questions that you may not have, but before you make your decision, you need to determine whether a public hearing should be held, if it's a significant activity or it's in the public interest. And on my memo, which I'd ask you to waive the reading of, I have a number of bullet points that would be part of the approval.
Meeting today for Wetlands.
Yes, you are.
I'm Emil Carver Diamond, and Jim Troll will be in it.
You're here for Wisconsin or Hammond?
Hammond.
Hammond, okay, thank you. That's the agenda today.
Okay.
Doug, you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions on this. I do have just a point of order. Singh has joined, so we have 4 voting members now.
Thank you. Peter, do you have any questions, comments?
This is in the upland review, right? This,
Correct.
okay. And I didn't see, did the town engineer submit any comments or anything relevant to this application?
There has been, yes.
Is that on the memo?
They were attached. So these on the screen now are the comments from the city engineer.
Okay.
So I would just add that before it's finalized, I'll work with Brian to get a bond estimate submitted for his approval. And the other comments have been addressed. And the DOT permit will be required for the driveway.
Can you bring up the site plan again?
Sure.
So it doesn't have well, if I'm correct, it's a city water.
Yep, the water line is right down here, the proposed connection.
Okay.
And there's no sewer line in that section of 82?
It's down the road a bit, I believe, and the cost would have been very, very expensive due.
Mm,
So there's no feasible alternative is really what you're saying.
Yeah, that was what MPU determined. They were okay with that.
Okay.
Just another point, Rich, Brandon Hyde is signing in to the meeting.
Okay, that makes 5 of us.
How many square feet is the house? Dan?
It is,
It seems like it's a, what, 2-bedroom house?
I think it's 3.
Don't we need 1250 septic tank for 3-bedroom? It's 1,000. Oh.
It could be Singh. I'm not really sure. I don't typically
Okay.
get into that. It's more of a
Yeah,
zoning and
that's
building
fine.
side
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, and that's also more of an Uncas Health District thing as well.
Oh.
Right.
Any other questions or comments?
So I would make the motion that IWWCC 21-06 does not require a public hearing.
Pete, second.
There's a motion on the table that has been seconded. All in favor, state your name and say aye.
Doug, aye.
Saying aye.
Pete, aye.
Brandon, aye.
Motion is approved unanimously. Other new business would be IWWCC number 19-M 33 Wisconsin Avenue.
I think we,
Rich?
Rich,
Oh. Yeah, we have to decide whether or not to approve or disapprove the
correct.
21. Getting ahead of myself here.
Yeah, so I move that IWWCC 21-06 be approved with all of the points in the memorandum written by staff to be addressed.
Pete,
there a-
second.
There's a motion on the table. All in favor, please state your name.
Doug, aye.
Saying aye.
Pete, aye.
Brandon, aye.
The motion is passed unanimously. On to IWWCC number 19-17M, 33 Wisconsin Avenue.
Yes, this is a modification of a previously approved grading plan, IWWCC number 1917, located within the 100-foot upland review area. Property and application of Prime Enterprises LLC, Frank Blanchard, Principal, Assessors Map 34, Block 1, Lot 4, in the Business Park Zone.
You state your name.
Yes, my name is David McKay with Boundaries LLC, here on behalf of Frank Blanchard of Prime Enterprises, the property owner and applicant. Dan has our proposed modified plan up on the screen here. And in the room, what we have highlighted in green is the 2-to-1 slope that exists between the front of the lot and the rear of the lot, which is the operating area for Prime Electric. We had previously proposed this slope to be 2 feet horizontal to 1 foot vertical with a diversion swale cutting across the middle of the slope. The purpose of that swale was to break the 2-to-1 slope up into no more than 15 vertical foot sections. That's a DEP guideline, vegetated 2-to-1 slopes. During the initial cuts for the project, Prime determined that was going to eat up a fairly significant portion of their existing operating area, and they wanted us to look at an alternative that could reduce the amount of operating area they're losing. So we put this revised plan together. What I have highlighted in green is the only area that we're proposing to revise, and that resulted in the elimination of the diversion swale. Instead of having a grass slope, we have a riprap stone slope at 2 feet horizontal to 1 foot vertical. And what that allowed us to do with the removal of that 12-foot wide swale, we reduced the amount of operating area they were going to lose from about 1,200 square feet to about 200 square feet, what I have highlighted here in orange. It's a chain link fence at the top of the slope there that they just have to move back about 8 feet now as opposed to the 20 feet before. We submitted this plan to Brian Long, city engineer. His only comment was that he recommended including a filter fabric layer underneath the stone to prevent the migration of any fines into the stormwater basin that's at the base of the slope. We incorporated that into our details, and he was satisfied with that addition. But other than that, that is the only change we're asking for this site plan that we discussed a couple years ago.
So that strikes me as a fairly significant change and a deviation from DEEP recommendations.
The reason we're proposing the riprap is to meet the DEP recommendations. It's either a 2 foot horizontal to 1 foot vertical, vegetated no higher than 15 feet, or an alternative stabilization method, including riprap, which allows the slopes to exceed 15 feet. At this point, we're looking at 24 feet at our maximum.
That meets all DEP standards.
Yes.
Has your planting schedule been updated accordingly?
I apologize. Could you repeat that?
Does the planting schedule remain the same, or has it been updated accordingly?
This area was just going to be seeded with grass. So that is the change, is going from that grass slope to a riprap slope.
The entire slope now will be riprap.
Yes.
Well, that's,
And that area runs off directly into the stormwater basin for the project.
Were there wetland soils in that area?
there were, if I remember the site walk correctly.
Hmm.
Yes, the wetland soils are located running from this existing culvert that crosses under the driveway and extended into this project area here. Part of the original approval was to fill a portion of that wetland area in order to create this building pad.
That's correct, but I remember that there was also some compensatory requirements.
Yes, we're not changing any of the stormwater basin. That is still the same, and that goes to replace the groundwater recharge value and function of this wetland area that was filled. And that volume has not changed.
With the additional square feet footage at the top, is that going to change the volume of flow down that bank?
No, that area is currently draining into a catch basin that exists up there. And as part of this, we've also proposed to add to that berm there just to make sure that that flow continues to go to the catch basin as it's intended to. Catch basin is located right here. And that connects to the drain in the driveway.
The rate of flow will be about the same,
Yes.
whether riprap or grass.
Yeah, it's overlying a permeable soil that dug into that. It's bony gravel.
Yeah, I remember it. Any further comments or questions?
So the only question that I have is more one of timing. I'm surprised that the applicant didn't recognize that the amount of area that they would have for operations in the original application. And I'm curious as to why now all of a sudden they're needing another 1,000 square feet.
Well, really what it comes down to is it looks okay on paper. And then once they started actual construction in person, they didn't like the way it was looking anymore.
So from an IWWCC perspective, the open question is, will this plan substantively retain the same water quality parameters as the original plan?
I can comment on that. We're not proposing to increase the impervious area of this area, and with the filter fabric layer that will be underlying all of this stone, there won't be any sediment transport into the water quality basin. So that water quality basin still meets the original intent of capturing the runoff from the gravel pad area and treating that.
Correct. Hydrologically, it'll be equivalent, but biologically, there's no biotreatment that'll be taking place along the slope because you're replacing a vegetated slope with a riprap slope. So in terms of water quality, is it the engineer's opinion that will be just as improved as it would have been in the original plan?
Yes, I would say so, because the only water that's going to be running into this area is what lands directly onto this slope. So it wasn't coming from a surface that is going to need additional treatment due to sediment load or pollutants from an impervious surface. So I would say that it still meets that requirement.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Peter,
No.
Singe,
No, I'm good.
Brandon?
I do not have any further questions. Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve or disapprove?
Rich, I just remind you that it's the same thing about the public hearing previous to approving or disapproving the application.
It's not, okay.
So I also notice, Rich, this is new business. Are we voting on all new business tonight?
Yes.
So that's a departure from our normal process.
Yes, this is something that Dan messaged us earlier in the week.
Yeah, but it needs to be read, that needs to be read into the record.
Yes, that we are receiving this. We are both receiving it and acting these two IWCC 19 and IWCC 21 this evening.
Yeah. And Dan, I would just encourage you not to come back and sort of make this the new normal.
No, I'm aware of that. This was just the one-off case where we actually got two in a row. That was this modification, and the next application is a septic repair at a home.
Understood.
We need a motion to decide whether or not this is a significant activity which would need a public hearing.
So moved.
Pete, second.
Sorry, so moved, yes or no? It needs a public hearing or no?
No, so moved. It does not require a public hearing.
Saying aye.
Okay, all in favor? Please state your name and say aye.
Doug, aye.
Pete, aye.
Brandon, aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, so moved. Now we need a motion to approve or disapprove.
Well, let's make it a motion to approve, and then it's either approved or it's not.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Brandon, second.
There's motion on the table. All in favor, please say aye.
Pete,
Brandon, aye.
Saying aye.
Pete,
Yep, Pete, aye.
Doug, nay.
3-1, the motion is approved. IWWCC number 2110, 20 Hammond Avenue. Gentlemen, stand before the camera here or sit. State your name, please.
My name is Jim Troger. I am involved in this project to the extent that I am designing the repair to a septic system at 20 Hammond Avenue. And would be happy to entertain any specific questions you may have regarding, this is a single-family house that has been being worked on, and there was an existing system here that, to my knowledge, had failed somewhat. And we have conferred with Dave Coughlin from Uncas Health regarding what would be acceptable from the health department as a repair to this system. I have nothing in writing, but I have a verbal agreement from Dan that he is in agreement with what we have proposed to do with this system. However, that due to the fact that the entire property is in an area defined as a wetland, we were instructed that it must go in front of this to act on this. Again, it's an existing house. It needs a system of some sort. We have conferred with Uncas Health, and they're in agreement with what we have proposed. So, having stated that, I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Do we have any questions?
This is Doug. I have no questions on this application.
Brandon?
Sorry, I was having trouble with my phone. I don't have any questions.
Peter?
He said that the existing system has partially failed. Is that correct?
Is this existing system partially failed, was the question? Or fully, completely failed? He failed.
It's failed.
Yep.
It was an antiquated cesspool type thing, which has since been destroyed, I guess.
Yeah. And is there any bedrock outcroppings in that area that you're going to be digging in?
No, there was test holes that were dug here. By code, a system is required to be 4 feet above ledge or deteriorated with that criteria. So the bottom of the system will be the minimum 4 feet above ledge, but I believe the test holes did not find any ledge as far as deep as the test holes were dug, which was approximately deep.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
This is Dan. I'd just like to remind everyone that, once again, you need to determine whether or not a public hearing is warranted. And then there's bullet points on my memo. If you could include those with a waived reading in the motion, I'd appreciate that.
So I move that IWWCC 21-10 does not require a public hearing.
Pete, second.
There's a motion on the table. All in favor, state your name. Aye.
Same guy. Brandon, aye.
Aye.
Pete, aye.
The motion is passed unanimously. Is there a motion to approve?
So this is Doug. I move that IWWCC 21-10 be approved with all of the points addressed in the memo written by staff to be included in the approval.
Pete, second.
There's a motion on the table. All in favor?
Saying aye.
Brandon, I.
Pete,
Doug,
aye.
The motion has been approved unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there any other business, Dan?
Nope,
Violations?
none at this time.
Do I hear a move to adjourn?
So moved.
Pete, second.
All in favor?
Doug, aye.
Saying aye.
Pete, aye.
Brandon, I.
Thank you, gentlemen, and Catherine Rose, very much. Have a good evening.
Thank
too.
you.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
everyone.